Hi, Richard. 80 is a lot of years. Do you remember when we were young, a person who was 80 looked old and probably felt old? You don't look old. In fact, you look great, and you don't act old. Because of our age difference, we did not spend a lot of time together when we were growing up. We both remember our childhood and we had similar experiences, but mostly they were not shared. We became closer as we aged. I visited you in Pennsylvania and Indiana, and Norma and I came to Georgia, Iowa, and Oregon with our family. After Mom and Dad moved to Oregon, we visited more frequently. And after your retirement, you made several visits to St. Croix, and I think we got to know more about each other. I'm very happy about the relationship we now have.
I remember when I was training for my first marathon, you rode your bike with me and gave me water.
So, another memory that I have, and I'm sure there are many of these, are skiing memories. And just, fond memories of going up to Hoodoo on the weekends with the family, bringing our brown sack lunches and stashing them in the lodge and going there to eat at lunch. But this was my first time skiing, and you brought me up. I don't know if we went the family or if it was just you and me, but it was you and me alone on the chair. And we were going up, and you were, telling me how to do things. And when we got off the chair, you taught me the snowplow. So we went down the run the whole way, and you taught me how to snowplow. You taught me how to, weave in and out, how to turn left and right, how to stop. And then we got to the bottom of the hill, and we got back on the chair, and we rode up to the top. And then we got down off the ramp, and you said, "All right, have a good morning. I'll see you at the lodge at lunch." And you took off. And then you left me to ski all by myself for the very first time I ever skied for the remainder of the morning. And yes, good memories.
Hi, Grandpa. It's Keelan. One of my favorite memories that I have with you is always doing the Keelan services and helping you out whenever you come for Christmas. I really enjoy doing that, and it's fun.
I remember finding yellow Post-it notes laying about the house after your many visits, Dad, and you would write on the Post-it notes, "In case of an emergency, call," and you'd either have our phone number written on the Post-it or our address. And after you left to return to Corvallis, I'd find those notes laying about the house.
Hi, Dick. There's several episodes that come to mind when I think of you that I'd like to relate. One is when Elisa and I would come visit Corvallis when we were living up here, and we'd come down for the holidays. You'd greet me at the door and say, "Oh, Kevin's here. He can make his famous pancakes." And you'd get all excited and start talking about Kevin's famous pancakes. And we'd get the Bisquick out, and I would mix up my pancakes, which were big, and unlike the Weinman pancakes, mine were 8 or 10 inches across and an inch thick and fluffy, soaked up lots of syrup, and didn't get mashed down flat like shoe leather. Anyway, so I'd start making my pancakes, and people would be gobbling them up, and you'd come over and have me make your special pancake, but you'd start throwing raisins and nuts and all kinds of crazy things into it, and you'd ask me not to make it quite so big, and you'd want me to mash it down, and before long it was anything but a Kevin special pancake. I always thought that was somehow funny that you get very excited about my pancakes, but then they'd morph into a Dick Weinman granola earth muffin pancake.
I remember how you made us put on our ski boots, lace them up as soon as we got to the mountain house. Me in the front seat, of course. Everyone else got to sit in the back.
I do remember you eating all kinds of absurd combinations of food. The cold peas on ramen noodles, the strange combinations of salads. Although I think that was something that was inherited too, is I see myself putting granola and berries in my yogurt. So I guess I want to thank you for that, as you certainly were ahead of your time in knowing how to eat.
I like your fuzzy face.
You have great hair, like me.
I like your personality and how you listen to my stories. You embraced me and my children, and you've made us feel welcome.
Dad, I have two great memories of downtown Corvallis and you and Mom. The first memory is when I was a young boy walking around the streets with you and Mom, holding one arm of yours and one arm of Mom's. And on the count of 3, you guys would lift me up in the air as if I was flying. And I just remember loving that. Also, another memory I have is the New Morning Bakery and their fabulous crackle cookies. And I just remember you coming home from bike rides with them in your pocket for Jeremy, Joel, and I. And to this day, we still get crackle cookies when we all go downtown together. Although these days, I buy.
So, I think like most parents, you had a great knack for saying or doing things that would just embarrass the hell out of us as kids. And, you know, I got many memories of those, but I'll just speak to one. I was in 7th grade, and I forgot my lunch at home. And I realized I forgot my lunch at home, and the whole day I was kind of nervous, like, what is Dad going to do? How am I going to get my lunch? Is he just going to bring it to the office and leave it there? Are they going to call me for it, or what? So, anyhow, I'm sitting in math class, and I'm taking notes, and I look up at the door, and I see you standing there, leaning against the door jamb, just swinging my sack lunch side to side, and you got that, you know, big old dad grin on your face. And I just put my head down and just pretended like I didn't even know you because I was so embarrassed, and I was just praying that you wouldn't walk in. But of course I couldn't pretend I didn't know you because Hendra or Mr. knew you, and he let you walk right in, walk right up to my desk, and place my lunch on my desk. And it wasn't so bad, of course, but it's pretty damn embarrassing to a 7th grader. And I threatened Ezra with it. I've told her that story many times and threatened to do that to her.
I remember when we were on EOS and we had to go see Homer's tomb, and you insisted on carrying all those rocks back down with us in the 110-degree weather.
I remember coming home after swimming practices and finding your cooking waiting for us in the oven. Oftentimes you made us a turkey melt, which consisted of a pita bread, really thick cheese, and an even thicker slice of turkey. But it wasn't melted, so I don't know why you called it a tuna melt.
I remember at the end of my sophomore year, I was having some issues at school, and I wanted to transfer to Kenyon College. And we were talking on the phone, and you gave me some very sound advice. You had said, Josh, you can't run from your problems. They're just going to follow you. So you need to solve them, make amends with them, and then move on. And that's something that I've always remembered and kept close to my heart, and have used since you gave me that advice back in 1998. So thanks, Dad.
Hey, Dad. Happy 80th birthday. I'm doing what you taught us how to do, ski. One of my memories of you is rushing us to the mountains and making the kids, me and Rachel, I think, put our ski boots on at the mountain house an hour away from Hoodoo.
Exactly what Howie said.
I guess that's exactly what Howie said. And then you would hustle us up, and we'd park at the very, very end of the parking lot so you could escape at the end of the day faster than anybody else. And then you'd make sure we got to the snow, and then as soon as we got to the snow and got our skis on, you were gone. And we would ski like crazy maniacs, and then you would find us throughout the day, which I always remember, and you'd always have fudge in those deep down pockets of yours. And today Howie brought Hershey bars for his kids, so the tradition continues.
He did?
Yeah.
Hi, Grandpa. It's Abby. I am also skiing. I'm actually on the same chairlift as Uncle Eddie. I wanted to say thank you. I always look forward to visiting you because I always have so much fun speeding up and down in your electric chair, and I actually go way faster than you guys tell me to. So I remember one time I was there and I ran over Uncle Paul's foot. I think. Yeah, it was Uncle Paul. But I always remember that I always like to talk to you on the phone, and I love looking at pictures in photo albums, and I always see pictures of you holding me when I was a baby. So thank you, and I love you.
Some of my fondest memories include, of course, the time that I called you and asked you permission to marry your lovely daughter.
And of course you, with your calm, soothing voice, put me at ease immediately. And luckily gave me your permission.
Hi Dad, this is Howie, riding up the chairlift with my family in Mount Hood Meadows. Doing this reminds me of when we were kids piling into the Suburban every Sunday morning, driving up with static-filled radio as you were seeking to get public radio station, eating our chocolate moon sticks, and then when we were getting to the mountain house, having you make us get all of our gear on, putting our lace-up boots on, and then we'd be sweating in the car until we got there. And then we would get there, we'd all walk to the lodge, and you'd say, "See you at the end of the day," and you took off.
So, the first thing I was thinking about was that when Dad, you had your retirement party at OSU, and you introduced everybody in the family, and you had such nice things to say about everybody with their kids and all the accomplishments they had done, and I was curious and worried as to what you would say when you got to me. And when you got to me, you talked about how that I was always doing my own thing, marching to the beat of my own drum, and that you were very proud at what I had done and what kind of person I had grown up to be, which made me very happy, especially since I hadn't really done anything as far as marriage or graduating or anything like that from college like everybody else had. So that was very touching, and it made me very happy. And that is one of the better memories I have from growing up.
I remember when Grandpa bought Sadie for Grandma, and I think it was really for him because then it gave him another excuse to go out and exercise. He'd take his morning run or his morning swim, and then it was always a stick walk for Sadie. And so I think the dog was as much for him as it was for Grandma.
Another great memory is when you went on a mountain bike ride with us one time. We went up on Dimple Hill. Our big gang was going. You said, "Well, I'd like to go with you guys one time." So we went up, and as is typical of our group, when we'd go 3 or 4 of us, we'd stop and chat, and we'd look at the view and comment on various things and trails, and I remember that kind of drove you crazy because you just wanted to get out and ride. You wanted to go for a ride, and you wanted the exercise, and weren't into smelling the roses and socializing and looking at it. After about the 3rd time, you expressed your frustration with how many times we were stopping, and it never occurred to me that we really actually stopped that much.
Hey there, Dad. So another memory I have pertains to your disdain for eating unhealthy foods, which now as a dad I completely understand, but as a child this was kind of a devastating experience for me. So, we were kids. Adam and Aaron and I were sitting at the table eating cereal, and you poured it for us, and then you were giving us some sugar out of our big yellow sugar bin. And so Adam and Aaron, I felt, got more sugar than I did. So I complained and I whined, and you came over and said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I said, "Adam and Aaron got more sugar than I did, and you must have been at your limit. You must have been really bothered by it." So you grabbed the sugar container, took off the lid, and poured all the sugar that was in the container into my bowl. And so I had a big heaping mound of sugar in my cereal bowl, and I just broke down and cried, and then ran to Mom. So anyhow, stuck with me, always will.
Dad, I remember a great heart-to-heart conversation we had. It was when we went to Eugene. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and the University of Oregon education program was having their senior symposium projects being displayed. So you and I drove out to Eugene, and I thought this was going to be a great experience for me. I'd get to have a heart-to-heart with you about life and about education, and talk to you about what I was going to do with the rest of my life. So we drove out there, and on Highway 34, you insisted that we listen to your classical music. And when I turned south onto I-5, I just started talking, and I just let everything out. Told you about my fears, told you about what I wanted to do with my life, And I just let it all loose, and there was no response. And so I looked over at you, and there you were, head tilted down, lip open, and a bunch of saliva coming from your lip, hitting the newspaper that was on your lap. And that was our heart-to-heart. So thanks, man. You led me on the right direction.
Most of my memories involving Richard revolve around food. I remember the year was 1999. We were moving through the Christmas holiday, and then it was New Year's, and I proceeded, with Paul's help, to make tuna fish sandwiches for whoever happened to be at the table, which was always a number of people. And so we opened up the 2 or 3 cans of tuna that were in the cupboard and proceeded to make lunch. And Richard walked in and was horribly upset because we had used up his entire Y2K food stores, and how was he now going to survive the new year?
I remember our mini drives up to Hoodoo to ski, and as soon as we got to the top of the pass, you instructing us to get our ski boots on, and then you'd pass out the space food sticks for us to eat, so that the minute we arrived to the parking lot, we could jump out and head out to the slopes.
I remember always wanting to ride up the chairlift with you when we were skiing growing up, because you'd always have a Snickers bar in your pocket, and if we were lucky, you'd share it with us. Because of that, Dad, I'm addicted to these.
One of my memories is going on long runs with Dad. I used to always run shorter and closer to home, and Dad would always go out on adventurous runs that would go out into southwest Corvallis, out in the farmland. So it was fun to go on some runs in different areas of Corvallis and have a nice conversation as we went along.
I remember you coming into our bedroom every night and singing the ABC song to Jer and I, and it would go something like A, B, C, D, E, and you would change your voice every few letters, and Jer and I would laugh hysterically as you sang the song to us. And then you would give us a big kiss on the forehead, and you must have just put Vaseline on your forehead, because every time you'd kiss us, we'd have this slimy remnant of Vaseline on our foreheads, and it was really gross, and we had to wipe it off instantly.
Howie and I were talking on the way up, remembering how you used to take us to the Oregon State football games, and we'd stop off at the donut shop and get those apple fritters. To this day, I can no longer eat apple fritters.
Another one that comes to mind is when I moved back to Corvallis from California to give you and Joel a hand with everything in the house with Mom, because Ez was a baby and Joel was getting worn out, and you were busy and pretty worn out yourself, I believe, and you were concerned about me not being able to find work so far and not being able to find a house to move into, and you were unhappy with me seeing me mope around the house. So when I came home one day, you had a big wrapped package for me on the bed, and I asked what it was. You said it was just something to brighten my day, and I opened it up, and it was that big compilation book of the Far Side comics, which you thought was what I wanted when actually it was supposed to be Calvin and Hobbes. But I do love the Far Side, and I still love the book, and it was very much appreciated, as it still is very much appreciated, and I still do read it. So, thank you, Dad. I really appreciated that as well.
Hey, Richard. So I obviously don't have many memories from when we were all younger, because I wasn't around. But I did want to participate in this beautiful project anyhow, and I wanted to take this chance to thank you for your very warm welcome into this family, for your emails and your conversations and all those times that we get to visit. I truly appreciate the relationship that we have, and I value that very much. I hope this is a wonderful birthday for you, and I am so very glad to be celebrating with you today.
I think it was June 2008, and we had that awesome Red Sox game that we went to for Father's Day. You, my dad, Sarah, and myself, and it was just one of the most beautiful nights we could have imagined, so that was terrific.
I remember being woken up at 3 or 4 in the morning several mornings a week to the sound of ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk of your shoes spinning around in the dryer, either after a run or before a run.
I remember when Grandpa came to visit and he decided that we should go on a bike ride. Just the guys. So we went on this bike ride, and I think my dad ended up taking my sister on another bike ride or something, I don't remember. But we're riding out, he's riding with me on the way out, and then on the way back he kind of just continued to get further and further away, and before I knew it I was all by myself. I think he beat me home by like 10 minutes or something. He just came in later, nobody really knew the difference.
Hey Grandpa, happy 80th birthday. I remember when we used to drive down to Corvallis and you would always have a box of Captain Crunch ready and waiting for me to eat. And that was like the coolest thing ever because my mom never bought me that stuff. Love you. Bye.
Hi, Dad. Well, I have so many fond memories of you and Mom, but if I had to choose one that is most memorable, it would be when I snuck away from home in high school to go to a football game, and maybe a quarter of the way into the game, you came and very quietly sat down next to me and my friends and leaned into me and whispered into my ear, "You can either come now, quietly, or I will have to embarrass you in front of your friends." And I just thought, man, what a cool dude to spare me the embarrassment in front of my friends. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciated that. And that's a memory that I will never forget.
Another memory that I was having was when I was going to see Dr. Urkula for my back situation when I was 15. After dealing with it for 6 months and you and Mom not believing that there was anything wrong, finally went and saw the specialist and he suggested the MRI, and we got the MRI and the results, and sure enough I was going to have back surgery. And so Mom was all worried, and you bought her flowers because that's the kind of thing that you do. And I asked, well, why does she get flowers when I'm the one who's going to have to risk having back surgery? And so the next day when I came home, you had gotten me flowers, which was a very nice gesture. Not that I'm really into flowers, but it was still a very nice gesture and I really appreciated it. It showed how much you actually really cared. Thanks, Dad.
Oh, hey, Dad. Just getting some special Sunday cereal snack ready for myself. One memory that I have of you was always buying us Captain Crunch or Captain Crunch berries on Sunday as a special treat. And yes, that special Sunday cereal tradition is something I'm going to pass along in my family. So thanks for starting it for me. It was always a nice treat to get some Captain Crunch on Sunday. Love you, Dad.
My last memory is about your obsessive compulsiveness, which you passed on down to everyone else.
And me.
And Abby. When you were so obsessive about vacuuming that you had put on your yellow Gore-Tex rain gear, you had your right foot taped up so the rain gear wouldn't get stuck in your bike chain. You had your helmet on, like this, and you were vacuuming the playroom with your helmet and bike stuff on, looking like one of those kids that rides the short bus to school. So, I'll never forget that image.
I remember when we would go to Scout Lake every summer for my birthday, and we'd climb up on all those rocks and swing off the rope swing into the lake.
Hi, Dick. I heard you're having a birthday. Excuse me a second. I'm gonna dry my shoes here. They get wet, so you gotta dry them when they get wet. Anyway, I just wanted to say happy 80th birthday. We're looking forward to celebrating with you. Cheers.
Hi Grandpa, happy birthday. My favorite memory of you is when we went down to the duck ponds in Boston and you bought us those duck keychains. That was really fun and I hope we can do that again soon.
My memory of Grandpa was at Christmas time when I was probably 6 years old, and
we'd wake up in the morning excited to open Christmas presents, and then Grandpa would be gone on his morning run or his bike ride, and then everybody else would get up and go for their exercise, and then we'd get home, Grandpa would have to take his nap, and then Grandma would try to keep us busy, all the kids busy by playing games or entertaining us downstairs, and then by 2 o'clock rolls around, we'd finally open Christmas presents.
I also remember your work ethic and how you did the commercials and the radio station in addition to working at the university to provide for the family. And I look at that as something that I inherited too as part of my work ethic. I also remember you and Mom coming to all of my events, swim meets, orchestra concerts, summer musicals.
So my best memories of Dad growing up are when he'd kiss me before bed and his beard would tickle my face, him calling home every morning from work while the kids were getting ready for school to say hi, listening to his voice every morning while we were getting ready to go to school, watching documentary movies at school with him as the narrator was pretty cool, and long distance drives with just me and him driving to swim meets.
I remember being able to ride at the chairlift with you and getting the space bars out of your big puffy jacket.
City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. People laughing, children passing, seeing smile after smile. And on every street corner you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, ring-a-ling, hear them ring, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day.
One of my fondest memories, Dad, is you coming into our bedroom most nights and singing Rachel and I nighttime songs. And during the holidays, that was one of my favorite songs that you sang to us, Silver Bells.
Hi, Grandpa. Happy birthday. I loved visiting you whenever I went to Oregon. And my favorite memory with you when I was visiting was when we would go out to breakfast and then we'd walk around downtown.
One of the things I remember is your early morning workouts. As I had the room underneath the living room, I could hear you upstairs as you were stretching and getting ready for your workout. And then I'd hear you come through the hallway and out through the pool room as you went on your early morning run.
Favorite memory I probably have with you is when I was in your apartment. I would go on your electric wheelchair and go around in your apartment. It was really fun. So
I'm reminded of you every day when I open up the refrigerator door and I see a nice picture of you and Ginny, and me and Sarah and Grace when she was I think 1 year old. It was back in 2001 when you and Ginny came out here for that trip, and we were at my parents' house, and there's a beautiful picture of us in my parents' backyard, and you're lying on the grass, like a little kid, with your arms spread back, and the sun is you're just soaking up all the sun, and you just look like a young kid. I'm just reminded of your youthful exuberance.
I remember turning around on the blue chair at Hoodoo and waving to you as I was going up the chairlift all by myself at 3 years old.
Hi, Grandpa. So, I have a couple memories about you and me a long time ago when I was a little girl. I used to come over to your house a lot with my dad. Actually, we used to live there. But me, you, and Grandma used to always have dance parties in the living room. And I just used to look at you guys' face. You guys look so happy together. It was so fun for me. And I'm just really happy that I got to have that experience with you because, you know, it changed my life because I got to hang out with you a lot. So we all love you and really happy that you're here.
Hey, Pops. Short and sweet one. So, remember my trip to Albertsons College with you when I was a senior in high school? Check out the school? And then remember the way home? Well, you never told Mom. And just want to say thanks.
I wanted to take this time to thank you for everything you've done for me. I always felt loved, and I always knew you were proud of me throughout my life, no matter what I did, where I was at in my life. So thank you for your support and your love and always having my back. I love you so much.
Another memory I have is of Dad during the gas crisis, sitting outside the gas station in a long line of cars as we went to school on the bus, getting our bi-weekly allotment of gas so we could go skiing over the weekend. Leave the house at 4 or so in the morning and go get in line, and we'd be going to school about 7:30, and you'd be still sitting in line there waiting for the gas station.
One really great memory was we were hanging out on a beach in Santorini, on the south coast of Santorini, and I'm a bit like you in that it's hard for me to relax. I always got to be doing something, got to be moving, got to be active, and just lying on the beach was kind of driving me crazy. And so I decided to get up and walk towards a big rock on the beach that I saw in the distance. And as I got up to go, you said, "Well, I'll go with you," and because I think you were feeling the same thing, didn't want to just lie there and be sedentary. And so we had this really nice long walk on the beach, probably about a mile down to look at this rock, which I was interested to find had bolts on it for rock climbing. And I remember that very fondly because that was the last walk I took with you before your accident. And it's sort of my memory of you being vigorous and happy and out on the beach. And I'll always remember that nice long walk on the beach down to see that rock.
I remember helping you set up your answering machine at the CCP with Eddie, Josh, and Joel. You were worried that your voice wasn't as strong as it was before the accident, so you kept re-recording the message until you got it just right. After about 15 takes, you couldn't get through the words, "Hello, this is Dick," without laughing hysterically. Every time I call and get your answering machine, I think of that and smile.
Hey there, Dad. So, another memory that I have is it's a pretty fond memory of when Mom was ill, and I was at the house a lot helping take care of her, and you were there obviously, and Ezra was there a lot with us, just as a little kid, about a year and a half old or so. And night times were always kind of nice because Mom was calm and settled down for the most part, and Mom would get into bed, and Ezra would climb into bed and snuggle with Mom, and you'd climb into bed as well. And I have lots of pictures of those times. But sometimes you'd read a book to Ezra, and Mom would just sit there and lay there with a big smile on her face because she was feeling so good and so comfortable. And Ezra was snuggled in between you and Mom, and you had your hand around Ezra's arm around Ezra's neck and your hand on Mom's head, and just reading silly childhood books. And it's just a great memory of both of mine and of Ezra's.
Dad, I have a lot of memories from your year recovery in Portland and Corvallis after your accident. But overall, I remember how perseverant you were, how much crap you had to deal with day in and day out, and how hard you worked to move on and to adapt to your new body and the new limitations that you had. And you took it all in, and you worked so hard to get to where you are today. So your journey and your dedication to living life has really inspired me to enjoy everything that I have, and I just wanted to say thank you, Dad, for being a constant reminder to live life.
80 years old, it's quite an accomplishment, although I don't think you need to be reminded about how old you are today.
But we're going to tell you anyway. Happy 80th, Dad!
Happy 80th, Dad!
Happy 80th!
Happy 80th!
Happy 80th birthday, Dick. Also want to pass on my parents, and everyone from Massachusetts wants to pass on a happy birthday as well. We love you, Dick.
I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you did for me last year. Love you.
Norma and I wish you the very best for your birthday, and we hope you continue to think young. Love you.
Happy 80th birthday. I hope you have a happy birthday and all your birthday wishes come true. Love you. Bye. Hope I can visit again.
I love you, Grandpa. Happy birthday. Bye.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday. I hope I see you soon. Bye.
I hope you have a great 80th birthday, and love you. Bye.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We'll do this again for your 160th. Love you. Bye.
Happy birthday, Pops.
Grandpa.
Love ya.
Love you.
Happy 80th, Grandpa. I love you.
Happy 80th, Dad. I love you.
I love you, Dad. Happy birthday.
Happy 80th birthday, Dad. We love you.
So, happy birthday, Dick. And hopefully I'll be sharing this with you when we're down there. Bye.
Happy birthday, Richard.
Happy 80th birthday, Dad.
Dad. Old man. Well, do Dad first.
Happy birthday. Yo, Grandpa, you're the best daddy in the... Oh my God, Lizzie, what the heck was that? Yo, Grandpa, you're the best grandpa in the world. I love you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, man. We're up. Bye. Happy birthday to you, Grandpa.
So, hope you enjoy your day, and remember, you're older than you once were, but younger than you will be.